Okay, so this took a little bit of time to work out, but essentially this number that you have assigned is an external number. If we put in a different number like this, which is prefixed with a question mark, actually it brings back exactly the same record. You'll see the functional location shows. So let's go to query and let's see what else we have in there. So these are the two tables, iflot and iflotx, that are used for these functional locations, and I quickly queried a bunch with English descriptions and with your user ID, and it came back with a few items. It takes a few seconds to run, but you'll see that it actually doesn't show the functional location as you might enter it in the UI, but all the other information is there. So I thought, well, maybe the fields are in other fields in a secondary table, so I pulled an exposure on all of those and tried to pull back the data for that, but no go. So it would appear that the way the number is defined might be based on some configuration algorithm. So I recall that actually these items are also defined based on the data that you enter. So the numbers are auto-generated. If you're using predefined functional locations, then that may not be an issue. So because they're auto-generated, the number is an internal number. Now there is a Bapi called Funcloc get details that you can also use to pull back the data, and you can see here is the same item, and you can see there's the acquisition date, value, and currency key. So yeah, again, if they're using predefined numbers, it may not be an issue. If they're using auto-generated numbers, it could be a challenge for them. So I clear out the data in that record, and now I'll go and pull up the Bapi that we worked on together. And you'll see here that if I clear out all this data as well, then this is just display data. If I run it after having changed in the UI, you'll see there's no value there at all. So let's get the Bapi that we worked on together now, and let's see what happens when we try to run that. And that was, of course, the Bapi Funcloc change. So going into the Bapi, the interesting thing is that because Direct looks at the structure of the fields, one of the things that we know is that padding may or may not need to be enabled for an integer-based field. So initially we work on the assumption that padding is required, but you'll see that when I create the data in the spreadsheet and try to run it into SAP using the Direct script, what will happen is it'll actually generate an error. So put the data in, run the script against that, and you'll see it comes back with an invalid message. So just run it for row 2, and now you can see that it actually says that it couldn't be changed. Now the message is essentially saying it cannot find the record, but you wouldn't know that from the actual message that comes back. You'd basically have to test it the way we've done it here. So I'm going to open up the Bapi again, and I'm going to change the padding for the functional location identifier. So let's open that up, and you'll see that under Export Others, under the functional location record field, I have padding enabled here. So I'm going to uncheck that. I'm going to save the Bapi, and then I'm going to launch transaction again. Okay, I'm just going to close out the one that I had there. Launch transaction. Map my fields to the same spreadsheet that we were working with before. There's a lot of fields there, but most of these are display fields, because when you use that change Bapi, it actually displays a bunch of data as well. So let's just map that now. Okay, just save the spreadsheet, finish mapping the data, and now save the script and run it with the corrected data. Small change I just need to make to the log column, make sure that it goes to column E. Save the script, change the value there for the acquisition value to 1100, and run the data in. No message returned, and there's a 0 in the return number, and there you can see the data's changed.